Hello everyone. As you can see, my model railroad is kind of a mess. I've been neglecting it, but for good reason. I've been spending my time rebuilding a late 1800s luggage cart from my railroad club, the Hudson Valley Railroad Society. We're based out of Hyde Park, New York. Plug to the website hydeparkstation.org, one word. You'll be able to go on and see the station. I joined the club a few years ago, and when I joined the club, come to find out in the history of the club, they started in the 70s. They actually saved the Hyde Park Railroad Station from the wrecking ball. You can go online and you can learn about the history, or come visit us at the station, and they'll be able to tell you all about the history of the station and what it's been through and what we've been through in getting it restored to the way it should look like. So here's my video about the luggage cart. So back in the 70s, the Hudson Valley Railroad Society went to Hyde Park and said, hey, instead of destroying that station, we want to fix it up and make it into a museum, or have the idea of making it into a museum. And the Hyde Park, town of Hyde Park, let us have it for like $1 a year. I forget what the rent is. It's nothing. But they've really done a great job in restoring the building. I haven't been there for the total restoration. I did work on the ticket booth. I got it repainted and restained. Did some work there. But one thing I wanted to do was do this luggage cart. I'll move to the side now so you can see the pictures. Now, back in the 70s, here's a picture of the Poughkeepsie Station back in the 1800s. That's not back in the 70s, 1800s. That's a picture of the Poughkeepsie Station in the 1800s. And all the way over in that far corner, and you see the blow up, there's a luggage cart. That luggage cart was donated to the Hyde Park Station from the Poughkeepsie Station. Now I tried to do some research on it, trying to figure out how old this luggage cart is. And the station, Poughkeepsie Station, was built in 1850. So this is like a late 1800s luggage cart. And the reason why I say that is because it was built with wooden wheels. Most of the luggage carts that I've seen in a lot of the railroad museums have metal wheels. So here's a picture of the 70s group guys sitting on the luggage cart in front of the station. These were the like the founders of the club, and they're the ones that did a lot of the work in getting the station back together. And this picture here, you can see the luggage cart is behind the station, and if you look at it, you can see that it's still in great condition. This probably was taken like 80s maybe, but it was left outside. So when I joined the organization, it looked like this. And here's another picture of it. It was pretty dilapidated, falling apart. So, like an idiot, I said, you know what, I'd like to restore that. I should have had my head examined. But I didn't want to see it falling apart, so I said, well, there's nothing I really could do except restore it as best as I could from what I got left. So I ended up flipping it over on its back and taking measurements of different beams and parts of the undercarriage, trying to figure out where everything was supposed to be going, because it was pretty well smashed up. And then when I got done, I was left with this pile of stuff here. It's what was left of the cart, and this pile of dirt or broken pieces of wood and stuff like that. That's what was left. Not that much. So I put the cart parts that I had in the back of my truck, and the next place I went to was where I used to work part-time at the highway department. Oh, I work part-time now. but I retired from the East Fishkill Highway Department. And this is one of my co-workers, Joe. He was helping me get the wheels off the axles. Come to find out that it had right turning nuts on one side and left turning nuts on the other side. So he helped me get them off, and when we got the wheels off, here's a picture of the wheels, and there was only one that was actually in good shape. The rest of them were pretty well shot, either rotted out or whatever. So I started taking measurements of the wheels, and we went to Hanson Wheel and Wagon Shop. They are located in Letcher, South Dakota. Their website is, I'm reading this off, is hansonwheel.com. And we gave them all the measurements, and they helped us through getting everything set up so that we can get a new set of wheels made up for this cart. Because the wheels come in on a forklift, this is what it looked like when they showed up at East Fishkill Highway. And I want to thank East Fishkill Highway for allowing me to have them shipped there, because we needed the forklift to get them off the truck. And here's the wheels without the wrappers. So now we have the brand new wheels, and these are the only parts I really have left of the metal, is the back axle and the front axle with the turning area. That's what I started with. Now from here on is videos of me cleaning up, not really in-depth videos of me cleaning up the stuff, but it's just step by step of where I went to get the cart packed together. So get your popcorn and your soda, go pee, because it's quite long, but the ending result you'll like. Well, I got the new wheels here, and they're in beautiful condition. They do some craftsman work over there in Kansas, or South Dakota, South Dakota. And I'm starting to spray paint them. I'm using Sunshine Red from Rust-Oleum. That comes close to the original color of the wheels. I have to get a couple coats. I look like I'm going to have to go to Home Depot and grab some more paint. Well, I finished painting all the red, and now I had to do the black. And I had to go around the edge, and I did that with brush. This I sprayed, that I did with a brush, trying to get the edge perfect. And as you can see, I got a little bit on myself. That's normal. So I got these painted. I don't know if you're wondering what that little mark is. That just reminds me of where the front wheels are, because the front wheel hubs are a little longer than the back wheel hubs. So that's just my mark to show me which one it is. So Rust-Oleum on the black steel. Trying to take this thing apart. I got that bolt off. That's the center bolt that runs the whole center spindle carriage here. Trying to get this last bolt off here. And yeah, a little smoke there. I'm using a cutoff saw. I don't want to use torches because I'm afraid I'm going to melt something I don't want to melt. So I'm using my cutoff blade to try to get things apart. I got the handle off. Finally got it off the rig. I was hoping I'd be able to preserve this one piece of wood from the original, but this is all freaking rotted too. So I might have to get a new piece of wood for this too. Well, I wanted to have at least something that was original. I think all the metal is going to be original. All the wood is shot. I have to take this bottom axle apart. This is the back part of the wheels. So I can give this to my buddy so he can cut me a piece of wood in the shape of that. Well, I got most of this apart. Yeah. Oh, and I finally got that bolt out. I was trying to cut it. I got it right there. I was trying to cut it with a saw. Ended up hitting it with the up and down wrench, and it came right off. So that works. Trying to work on the back axle here. They have these long bolts go all the way through to that piece of wood, down to the bottom. And there's a square channel cut. So there's no way you can grab a hold of that because it's deep inside. And trying to get these nuts off will be almost impossible. So I've taken my cutoff saw, my cutter, and I cut straight down onto the bolt, and then used this thing. I can't think of the damn names. And I got the nut off. I'll get the other side off, and then I'll see if I can hammer these through so I can get their size and get these pieces of steel off. And that way I can have those separate from the axle so I can clean them. Excuse me for forgetting names. Comes with old age. Here we are, sanding down some of the boards. My friend Mike has gracefully donated the wood for the restoration. You said this is red oak? Yeah. Red oak. Brought these pieces up to him. He's gonna make that axle piece in the back, and then he's using this board. He's gonna make me a couple 2x4s. Amazing. Well, I got the boards from Mike, as you saw in the other video, and he rough cut these in his mill, and some of it's a little bit too rough cutted, so that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm putting them on the horses over here, and I'm sanding them down, trying to get that scruffy edge off there. What is cool here, see if I can dig it out. These are the cross boards, or on the bottom. They go across the bottom of the these boards, the big boards that hold it. This is the piece he made for the axle, for the back axle, and he used this old one as a template. And he got it cut for me to the right size. And this is all white oak. We were kind of laughing because the red oak is the boards, and we're painting them green, and the white oak will be underneath. We'll be painting them red. So, hey, color combo. What do you expect? So I'm just sanding these down, trying to get these edges off. Kind of tough doing a video. Kind of tough doing a video and sand at the same time, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like. I'm taking this side piece off here. This is the metal edge that goes along the beam on the side. Trying to get most of them nuts off using vice grips. Some of them break, some of them don't. But yeah, I get this one piece off here because that's what the new boards go into on that one side. And then get the other side pulled apart. And then clean her up and paint her. Today, taking the boards, he cut them in lengths for me, but they're just over 10 foot. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a regular straight angle. Where is it? Here's my square. Get my square. I'm sitting here cutting the ends so that they're square, and then I'm cutting them to the 10-foot length, putting them over there so they're ready to start getting painted. And then I'll start putting things together. Here I took the channels apart. They had little pieces of wood in them, so he's got to make me some little boards up for in there. Little pieces, they're only like 3/4 inch wide by 1.5 inches, because these sit on top of these boards as like a stay for the luggage not to fall off the cart. Just show some of the cleanup. Here's one piece that hasn't been started yet, and here's the piece that I've been cleaning up. Gonna get a coat of paint on this probably today, just to show the difference, what it looks like after grinding and sucking in rust fumes. Well, got these cleaned up, and I got a couple coats of paint on them. Still got to do the inside of the channel. I'm using hunter green satin, and while I'm painting that and letting that dry, I started grinding down the rear axle, trying to clean it up as best as I can. A lot of pitting in there. Made myself a little makeshift workbench here because I live in a mobile home, so I clamp it into my porch, and I'll be able to use the grinding wheel there and my vise. It's my little workshop outside. Another piece here. These go on the back axle. They go on top here, and that drops the axle down so the wheels, clear. And I'm cleaning these up. I'm gonna paint them. Just a comparison here showing the one that I've put under the wire wheel for quite a while, and one that I took off. The other side still dirty. I did some more cleaning up of some parts. Putting the first coat of paint on them. The nuts on the side of the axle. I finally did the axle. I taped over the axle because that's where the wheels go on, and the grease and the nuts. As you can see, the nuts are sitting there getting painted. I'll probably say, what's that piece, Tom? Well, that actually where the cart swivels in order for you to pull it out on the tracks and stuff. That's the bolt. That's the center bolt, like washer. So I got that painted. And yeah, red. Now here's an interesting thing. This is the handle that is on the front of the cart. The wood is in pretty good condition. You know, just needs to be cleaned up. The biggest problem I had, or have, is that these metal pieces where the screws go in, that holds the pin so that you can pull the handle down and pull the cart. Well, these screws have rotted out on the wood. I'd like to save this piece of wood. It'll be the only piece of wood left that's original for the cart. So my friend Mike came up with the idea. I'm going to drill these out 1/2 inch, and I'm going to put in 1/2 inch wood dowels and wood dowel pins in that spot, and then re-drill them for the screws and put the plates back on there, because the plate really holds the pin. I don't have to worry about that wood falling apart. And then clean it up, and then it'll be the only original piece of wood on the whole cart. Well, the biggest thing is when I was drilling out the original holes, the screw heads are still broken off in there, so it made the drill go cattywampus to the side. So I got them in there, and hopefully that'll work, and we'll have to see how it comes out. Well, the turning piece, I decided to paint with brushed Rust-Oleum to give it its first coat, and then I'll spray it again to give it a better even coat. But I wanted to put on a brush coat on it because I wanted it to go on thick to fill in the crevices. You can see I didn't do the bottom part yet, I just did the top. Alright, these end pieces. I had to use a hammer and a chisel to get these old bolts out. Not only were they rusted in the holes with 100 years of rust and 100 years of paint, but I got those apart. Working on the turn piece here, and down there painting some of the rear axle. I guess you would call them like springs or holds, and that I got sitting here drying. It's progressing. Got parts painted. I got to work on that piece and those two end pieces, get them painted, and hopefully today I should be starting to paint the boards. And it's quite hot out. Okay, another day coming to an end. I got more pieces being painted, cleaned up. This thing here, I got filler putty and I cleaned it up a little bit. Hopefully I'll paint that tomorrow. Gonna be painting the boards probably tomorrow. And my end pieces here. Got these all cleaned up. This was a pain in the neck, because wherever my disc grinder couldn't reach, I had to hit it with a drill with the wire brush to get into the little nooks and crannies. But it cleaned up pretty good. I got as much as I could. There's some spots where you might see a little rust, but there's going to be wood in here, so you don't see that. So I don't care, and that's for that. So, and I have my faithful pups here all day, guarding me from treachery afoot, or anybody trying to steal a luggage cart. I have to clean this one up. This one's going to be a little bit more meticulous to get the clean. But that's all she wrote for today. Oh, I got some nice red nuts. Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Well, started painting some of the boards. Got one side painted. Let these dry overnight. Then paint the other side. A couple of them are not that straight. Hopefully I'm going to be able to clamp them together and straighten them with a center beam. so they all match up. We'll have to see. It is hot today. It is hot today. Very hot today. Oh. And tomorrow, it's going to be hotter. It's Africa hot. I have to sweat. If I don't, I'll explode. Well, till tomorrow, I'll have to start painting the other sides. Not only is there 100 years of rust on these things, but also 100 years of grease and paint. I couldn't believe how thick the paint was. But what I can't get with a rotary tool, I'll have to hit with the drill and the wire brush. And I got the boards all second coated. And I started, I got the handle started to paint. Got one side painted. They say it's supposed to be 24 hours before Rust-Oleum fully cures. I like to go a couple days. I've worked with oil paints before and they take a little bit longer. So, those are done. Most of the parts are done. That needs another coat of paint. Got most of the parts up there and over there. It's hot. Again, hot. But, working. Well, this is the last piece I have to get the bolts out of. This piece here goes across the center beam, which is parked over there right now. That goes across all the boards. And after I get that cleaned up and get it painted, that will be the last thing to clean up and paint. And then assembly starts. Got that front axle. I was able to save the handle. And hopefully when I put it together, here's the end pieces. When I get it together, it won't be any surprises. There's the back axle. So now I just gotta cut these pieces off, clean them up, repaint that. I'm trying to use all the original metal. So hopefully. Well, I got the metal piece cleaned up. I got the whole bolts out. I gotta paint it now. Get most of the rust off. What I did is I placed it on the center beam here so I can mark the holes in the center beam. And then I'm going to drill that with my drill press, because me trying to drill straight, get a better chance of seeing God coming into the house. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to pull out my drill press and I'm going to drill those holes, and those go down through the board onto the boards. And that's the first one that I will be putting together, is the center beam, so I can get all the boards placed right. Like I said, I can't drill straight, so I'm going to use my drill press and get these started so they're nice and straight. Then I have this real long sucker to go all the way through into the other boards when I go to hook it together. But then I got to open it up until it's 3/8, because I'm using the 3/8 carriage bolts. But this will make sure it's nice and straight going into the boards. Well, assembly has begun. I got the boards laid out on a table, and I'm using some 5-foot pipe clamps that my friend Brian from work let me borrow. And I got the boards close enough together. Now I'm going to drill all the way through the main center beam there and put some bolts in to hold it. So I got the center beam on there, and I got the 6-inch carriage bolts in there, but I come to find out it's the wrong thread. I got the square nuts in here are 3/8 by 16, and those are like a more machine screw, so they don't fit. So I gotta find square nuts to go on here. So a little foobar, but something that can't be remedied. So I got the right bolts now for the center beam, and I started to put the end caps on and put the parts of the luggage cart on, putting that steel piece on there, but the carriage bolts don't fit in here, so I have to go get some square-headed nuts or square-headed bolts. Probably have to take a ride tomorrow to find those so I can attach that front end. The carriage bolts work good for the wood, but for that one, for this metal piece here, it don't work too well. So I have to get some square-headed bolts, 3/8, about 3.5 inches long, to fit on there. Then I'll be able to secure this end on there, and then I'll be able to secure that end on there. Then I'll figure out exactly where the armature is going to go, and then I have to get a couple people to come over and help me and flip this bastard over because it's heavy. It's heavy. I'm a strong guy, but odor isn't everything. But that's where I got there so far. Here I'm doing a little bit of welding. These are going to be the rods going through for the back axle. So I'm just welding the bolts onto the back of the screw head so they don't move, because they're going to go inside the wood when I drill the holes. So I welded the ends and then grinded them off because it has to be recessed inside the axle. Not in this piece, but actually the 2x4 that sits on top of it. And then it'll be going through here. Again, I'm going to be using my drill press so I can put a straight line through there. I just want people to realize, if they ever come to see the cart, these welds here that are on here were done by somebody else. So I don't want them to say, "Ooh, look at a weld." I didn't do that. That's the way it was. So I'm going to start working on this back axle here. Well, working on the axle, this is the piece that goes up against the body, so I had to drill these out so that the nuts can recess inside when it's flipped over. Every once in a while when you hear music playing just before I start the video, it's because I got my JBL speaker on and it cuts it off as I'm turning it on. But that's gonna put the axle together. I'm missing a small bolt that goes in the middle. It's on order, so it won't be really all together, but close together. With all the lining up, trying to get everything so it's straight, I still had to hammer the crap out of it to get down there. It's tight against there, but it ain't coming off. I know that for a fact. Whew. Well, I got most of the axle put together. To keep authenticity, I use square nuts and square bolts. So I had to order a square nut and a square bolt for that centerpiece, so I can't tighten anything down or cut anything. But it's almost ready. I'm going to work on the front end now, getting that lined up. This way, what I'm going to do is get all the bolts and everything lined up onto the piece, and then when I have my friends come over and help me flip it over, I'll just take it off and then I'll put it on underneath with a jack so there's not so much weight. But yeah, the biggest problem I have is finding the square nuts and square bolts. I went to a place where they said, "Oh yeah, they got all that stuff." I went there, they only had one thing, so everything else I had to order. So I'm gonna work on the front end part now. Well, I got the front steering armature down. It's locked on there. It's nice and tight. The back part I got to do when I get the stupid little bolt from Amazon, lock this in, then I can lock down the whole axle, and then I can set the boards for back there, and then I'll get that set up so that I'll be able to take that back off and take this off when I have my friends come over to help me flip this thing over. And I have to laugh because I say my friends, they may not be my friends after I ask them to help me do this, but what the heck. Well, I got the back axle mounted. The little bolt that I had to order 10 just to fit here with a square head finally came in from Amazon. And got the rods through. Those I'm going to cut down. Just have them sitting up there for now, but everything's down tight. Now I'm just waiting for screws or bolts, square head bolts, so I can finish putting the end pieces on. They're coming from China. They're probably being whittled out of wheat or something. I have no idea. But they won't be here till Monday. And then I have to, tomorrow, here, let me scan back a little bit. There we go. Tomorrow I have to go to a metal shop and see if I can get a 1/2-inch rod that will go across here as a truss rod to hold everything together, which really it's not going to need because this thing is solid. Then after I get the truss rod done, I am going to ask my friends to come over and help me flip her over. And then when I flip her over, then I will be making sure everything is set. Putting the front end on, which is sitting over here. Putting that on, and putting the handle on. And making sure everything lines up. And then throw the wheels on. And it'll be basically done. There's a couple other things I'm thinking of doing, but I'll wait till they're... Oh, I have to get the wood for the sides. The side pieces have to go on. But my friend hasn't made the pieces of wood for that yet. I have to give him a call. He's probably waiting for me to say, hey, I need them. But the axles are basically... Well, that axle is basically on. It's coming out good. Well, my bolts came in from China, so I have the end caps bolted down, and I cut down the extra die stock so those are nice and flush. I asked the guys in my club if they think I should paint the bolts or leave them open, you know, with the silver and stuff, but they all say paint them. So that's my next thing I'm going to do now. Waiting for the Duchess Metal to give me a call back. They're going to give me a price on a stress rod going across and threading the ends for me, and then I'll install that. And after that, I call my friends up and say, hey, want to help me flip a cart? And they'll probably tell me no, but I'm sure they will. Okay, well, I got all the fasteners painted. Yeah, it does look better like that. Of course, you know, they're still wet. The only thing that bothers me is I'm looking here, and there's like a separation in the wood from the axle, because really the axle is being held on by these two 5/8 bolts and the support armature, and that's really all that's holding it on there. So it's not being pulled to the board. So I have another piece of board there I'm thinking about putting across here, and that way I can pull up the boards and make them a little bit more flatter. One thing, if you noticed, it's upside down because this is upside down.
I printed out and signed my name, put 2025 on there. So if you ever come to see the cart, you can look underneath it, you'll see my name. I signed it. Damn right I'm going to sign it. Oh, and I called up the metal fit manufacturer is going to be making me the truss rod. He can't thread the ends, so what he's going to do is he's taking the die stock, stuff like this. Of course, it's in 1/2 inch, and he's going to weld it to the end of the rod, and that's what's going to be going through here, so I can add tension to it all the way down. Okay. I didn't like the way the board sat, so I added an extra board across, painted those screw heads. That way they're nice and flat. And I started working on the handle. Got this together. Got the pieces in. Got the screws. Gonna put a little coat of paint on those screw heads. But yeah. Bolt works fine. Goes all the way through. And that'll be the only original piece of wood left to this cart is the handle. Watch I pull it when I go to take it out and it breaks in half. Oh, there he is. Doing here is planing down the pieces for the side rails. These pieces are going to be on the channel that goes on the edge of the luggage cart. Basically holds the luggage on the cart so it doesn't flop over on the side. Well, you saw how the pieces were cut. Now I have them on the porch here. I'm giving them a coat of green paint, and these will actually go inside the channels. I got one of them sitting up here, and they will go on the inside. Well, you can't really see it. You'll see it when it's flipped over right side up. They sit on the edge, and they're like, you know, they keep an edge so that the luggage doesn't slide off the cart. But I got these pieces here. I started painting them, and I gotta give the other sides a coat of paint. I don't really have to get really too into this because it's going to sit inside the channel and then pressed against the boards, so you really won't see it. You just see maybe the edge and that's it. But I'm just putting a coat of paint on them just to give it a little bit of more preservative. Went to Dutch's Metal Supply today, and I picked up tension rods. That'll be going across here. Got to get them a coat of paint first. Keep the threaded ends, bare for now. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I had this in an earlier video. In case I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. I got this chain. I hooked it back up to the cart, and I was talking to our historian at the station, and I said, I found this piece of chain. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it. And he says, oh, that was the brake. And I said, the brake? And he's right. When the wheel goes here, this chain goes through the wheel and locks to itself, and that's the brake. That's how they used to brake the wheel, so it wouldn't roll away. But, oh well. But today I started painting the tension rods. Gonna paint them green. And of course, as soon as I finished, I hear rain on the roof. It was just a passing shower, but it's just enough to say colorful metaphors. And here I'm trying to figure out the wheel. I got the braking chain. I put one of the wheels on the axle, but I had to cut a link off, and it doesn't really reach around. So I'm guessing I'm going to have to take it off of here, move it to here, and that'll be part of the braking wheel. Just to make sure everything measures out right. Well, I ended up first moving the chain from here to here. When I moved the chain from here to there, it was right above the wheel, which would cause problems with it hanging. So I moved the spot back here. As you can see, I just painted it, and I got the chain hanging over there because I had to repaint that too. So that's where it's going to hook up. So it'll hang here. It'll be away from the wheel if it's hanging down, and it'll be able to wrap around the wheel and be the brake for the cart. So that'll work out good. Well, I have the bars put in. I drilled them through these. Drilled some holes through the ends using my hand drill. I wish I had a drill press because, well, I do have a drill press, but I mean I could have drill pressed them in because it wanted to rip out of my arm a couple times. But I got this one in here now, and I'm going to tighten down on it and maybe get a little bit of the bend out, but I'm not going to have this. This is not really going to hold the body up because it's not going to be taking heavy luggage to a train. It's going to be on display. So I'm going to tighten it up just to make it look good. And I don't know, I might cut the ends off. I might leave them. I don't know. Have to see. And now the tension bars are installed. I think I might leave the ends the way they are. Like I said, they're tight. You can't get them off by hand, but they're not tight where they're really pulling in on the bottom. But they're tight enough where they have some tension on them to make them look good. So I think I'm just going to leave them the way they are, and I'm going to paint them. And then the next thing to do is get my muscular friends from work to come over and help me flip it. Then I can put this section back on. I can jack it up and put the turning mechanism on and put the wheels on. All my friends from the highway department came over to help me flip her up. Now they're heading out. I couldn't videotape the flipping party, but we got it right side up now. So now I got to finish putting that beam on there, put one on this side, and paint the carriage bolts, and put the armature on for the front wheels, and then put the wheels on, jack her up, and we're going to be almost there. For the sides, or the bumpers if you will, that holds the luggage on, the original had bolts, carriage bolts that went all the way through, but some of these carriage bolts would ride along with the beams, so instead I'm putting in square-headed lag bolts, and that'll hold them on there. Like I said, it's not going to be carrying any real luggage, so I'm not too worried about wear and tear. In 100 years somebody else can put it back together. I ground these down again because I wanted a nice smooth surface. I'm going to paint it again, but I have gold vinyl lettering to put here on both ends. So I use a fresh new sanding blade, and I wanted to clean them up so as smooth as possible. And I have to paint it here and be smooth because where I was cleaning it up, there is a little bit of surface rust left that I kind of left there on there. But this one I wanted to get down to bare metal without grinding it, so I used a sanding wheel. See, I got these gold letters. This is going to be split, so it'll be Park on this side, and Hyde will be on that side, like so. I have to clear these holes with the lettering, and then I'll have that on both sides. Well, I got the vinyl letters on there in gold. They're not big letters, but they work. And they're not centered perfectly, but they work. Not videotaping the whole thing, but this is how I'm getting the steering armature back on the front. You lift it up with a jack, and I'll slip the bolt through the center, and then hopefully be able to screw it in. And like so, the armature is in. And now I'm gonna put a cotter pin through that bolt to keep the nut from coming off, and grease up the hubs and jack her up and put the wheels on it. Well, it's all together and it's on its wheels and it rolls, and the steering armature works. Let me widen it up a little bit here. So it's all together. All I gotta do is some touch-up painting. I had a big screw up. Of course I didn't videotape that, but the armature or the turntable was on backwards. These sidebars going down, the front and the back one are actually wider apart, so they were hitting the wheel. This is hitting the wheel a little bit, but not enough to really make me care. But it's all together. Now I just got to do some touch-up paint and hope the hell it makes it to Hyde Park Station without falling apart. Because you got to remember, all the metal, all that is 1850s, 1860s. Yep. And I'll tell you, when I was putting that together, there was a few colorful metaphors said, some explicit language. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to put it on video. So, some touch-up paint, and should be ready to get out of here.
Ready? You want to go down my driveway with it? Might be smart. I'll move the Jeep. Give me a minute. Huh?
You can go right down the hill there.
It's going to be a lot of weight on you.
Or we can switch.
Huh?
If you
Take me a
guys...
minute. I'll move my Jeep. Hold on.
I think you should just go down the driveway.
Yeah, let me move the Jeep. See, woman's intuition.
I
My car
know.
started on its own.
Woman's intuition.
Okay, I'm going to stop the video and then
Okay.
you can just resume that. You did not need my help at all.
Just having your beauty is enough.
Let's do it.
That's fine. Go right on. Yeah, man. Tap the brakes. Tap the brakes.
You gotta probably have to put the ramps
Wider.
wider. Been almost 2 years. Yeah, it sat out there under a tarp for 2 winters. I didn't have torch yet. Yep. I could bring a little closer.
Yeah, come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on,
Oops.
slow. Come on, slow.
That's all I gotta do is stretch.
Straighten out. All right. Stay steady. Yeah, he said straight like that. You ready?
Okay. You're gonna hit the roof? Ah! Crap. So after my neighbor Paul, as you see in the video, helped me with his friend, helped me push the cart off the porch. And as you can see, it didn't fit in my box trailer. Finally got it onto his trailer, and I'd like to thank him so much because he helped me. He let me borrow his truck. When I went to get it in the box trailer, it was too high, as you can see in the video. And then we got it onto his trailer, but when his trailer was hooked up to my truck, the wiring harness for the lights wouldn't work. They were too short, so I ended up having to borrow his truck and his trailer to transport the cart up there to the station.
Okay, I might give you that.
Pull on the handle too much and start
Either way, even if you can't close the gate, you could strap it in and then just tie the gate. I've done before similar. All right. Turn it on. Ready? Let's hit it a little bit. Ready?
Don't kill me.
All right, let's not run Tom over. All right. We don't want to hurt you too much. Go all the way. You can step on that.
Just want to make sure it doesn't spread shit out.
All right, good.
I can put a...
All right,
Awesome.
let's lift up this gate. It looks like the dream.
Hold on, let me...
It looks like the dream. Come on, come on. Oh, you're back, you're back. Looks like the dream. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Perfect.
You're going to get lots of attention driving this down the road, by the way.
Well, that's the reason why I decided to use this truck, because I'm afraid they had no brake lights. Somebody would come up real close to look at it, and then I stop and they hit me. Why isn't this freaking loose? When it rains,
It pours. You're doing great, though.
hell yeah.
Let me know. I got come-alongs and straps, and see how you do.
Don't know why this
I
doesn't.
want an inspection before you leave. How many years on the highway over there?
32.
Yeah, he's seen it all. Yeah. Oh. All right, we just, you guys are good, so enjoy the rest of your
Yeah.
Ready? All right. You got it?
Yep. I can't imagine one guy doing this across the tracks.
Yeah.
It's perfect. There you go. Well, as you can see, the cart's up at the station now, but I have to do a couple little things. One thing that happened in moving it is the handle that I'm trying to preserve starting to split apart. So I got a bolt here with some fender washers on it, and hopefully I'll be able to keep that closed so it doesn't split anymore and people can pull on it and they don't have to worry about it falling apart. And the other thing is that this nut sometimes binds up on this one wheel. So I brought up some Loctite. I'm going to clean off the hub, clean off the wheel, put some Loctite on there, and hopefully that'll hold the nut from going in and binding up when it's going forward. Of course, I just moved it out of the gate in front of the station all the way around and back out here again, and it never bound up. So it's just proving me wrong. If I say, oh well, it's not going to bind up anymore, that's when I leave it, it'll bind up again. So just a few little things to do, little campfires. So I use this to close it up using fender washers. That's pretty tight now. I don't think I have a problem pushing it in and out now with that. Of course, I can't keep it in camera frame. And then I'll paint it red, put a sign on there saying wet paint. Hopefully the intelligent people will leave it alone and they'll realize they shouldn't touch it. Well, I took the wheel off and I put Loctite on that nut. Now I'm putting notes all over the place saying do not move. Plus the piece I put in, painting. I gotta give it another coat of paint and that'll be done. It looks like it belongs. And then she's done. Okay, so my neighbor Paul, Joe, Dan from work, Mike Morris, want to thank all of them for helping me out. Mike has some beautiful woodwork. If you're ever in town in Stormville during the Stormville flea market, he's usually out there with some of his wood creations. You should stop by and look at some of the stuff. The guy is phenomenal doing his wood creations. I also want to again thank the East Fishkill Highway Department for allowing me to have the wheels delivered there, and allowing me to use the forklift to get them off. It was much appreciated.
And that's it. The cart is up at the Hyde Park Railroad Station now. Come and visit us. HydeParkStation.org. We'll show you the times that when it's open, or you can email us and maybe get the station open so for you to come and visit. But we hope to see you down there, and thanks so much for watching.